Hey, welcome back to the Secret Underground Lair. So today we are working on the lid for our wood kiln. And we have all of our pieces stacked up over here. This is what we're going to be drying in that kiln. And I have the two rails. They are now glued up. This will represent the top and bottom edges. The top and the bottom of the lid for our wood kiln. So I'm just going to rip these through first at 2 1/4 inches, then flip them over and rip them off at 2 inches. And then I'm going to put a 45-degree chamfer on them to accommodate the slope of the roof itself. So actually it won't be exactly 45, but we'll get that measurement in a minute. So I'll start just by ripping these off. But today the build is a lid, and hopefully we'll put the insulation inside the box as well. So that is today's adventure. Rather than ripping it twice, I'm going to cut this 45-degree angle now. Well, I'll get the angle and we'll cut that angle now. Just using my T-bevel to figure out the exact angle on this slope. That's what we've got. Okay, that's close enough, I think. Doesn't have to be an exact angle, but it needs to be in the ballpark. Again, this is just so that the plexiglass will sit a little bit more flush with the top of the box. Okay. I am reasonably happy with that. So, let's make our cut. Out of this piece are the ends of the lid. I might need to do a mid-section as well, but I'll get two, probably 3 pieces that I'll need 1 inch wide. I may need to find another piece of cedar to cut here, but we'll come to that in a minute. Have enough here to do a center section, but just do some measuring and check that. So I think I'm going to be able to get all the pieces I need out of this piece to do 3 cross members for the lid. So I think I'm okay with just this piece. But I'll keep this around just in case. Okay. Next bit, I want to cut an angle on here, but I want to make sure I have the right length for everything, so let me show you what we've got at the moment and the next cuts that need to be made. So our lower rail is going to sit here just inside this, this end piece, which means our end rail is going to come down here and screw into the end here. The top piece is going to sit on top of the box, like this, of course cut off flush. And our end rail will butt up to this and come down along the top of this end piece and screw into there. So it'll be screwed in to here and it'll be screwed into here. Now I thought about perhaps just moving this over on top, but that would require kind of a clever bit of notching here, so I'm not going to do that. I am just going to put it in here like this. And that will let this piece sit flush on top of the box. I can put a nice seal in there. I can have a nice seal across here. This will be hinged and I can put a seal across the bottom of that piece, or on top of this piece, which is the bottom of the top of the lid. So I'm pleased with that. So first thing to cut is going to be this bottom rail to the exact length of this, and the top rail the exact length of the outside edge of this. So take some measurements and make a couple cuts. Okay, that's our top and bottom pieces cut. Next, what we'll do is get our cross piece, our end piece cut. Sorry, having trouble with my mouth today. I've got some simple hinges that I'm going to be using. I have 3 of these. These hinges are just going to be sitting in here like this, so that the hinge point on the lid is going to be basically on the middle of this back piece. So that'll come around. And then that gives me this nice flush edge here, on which this isn't the cross piece, of course, but or side piece for the lid, but it'll go meet up flush there, come down, and meet up there like that, and be cut off at that angle. So that's kind of how we're going to set this up. And yeah, I'll get those. I'll get this end piece now cut and put in place. All right, I did some did a sample piece, a test piece, and this is cut the way we want it. Got the angle. It's about 38 degrees. And this is about the right length, 22.5 inches. So I've got our second piece set here on the table. I'm going to cut it. That'll be for the far end. And then we're going to cut the one for the middle. Okay, so we now have our 3 pieces. We'll put them in. I am going to just trim a little bit off the lower rail here. It's a snug fit and I want it to be a loose fit so that the lid can come down easily on that. So I'm just going to take like a 1/16 of an inch off the end of this very big piece. Okay, I apologize, I forgot to turn the camera on. But what you can see with the lid now is we have a screw holding our cross piece in up at the top. We've got a screw coming through here into the bottom of the lid, and I've done the same thing at the other end. And what I'm going to do now is put this cross center piece in This has to be cut a little bit shorter because it's not intended to go on the top like that. It's actually going to go on the inside. So I need to cut off just a little bit of that. So I'll make a measurement and then cut that off, and then we'll install it. By the way, some of you may have observed that I have a Ryobi drill here, and yet I'm using a, can you believe it? A Black & Decker battery. I was able to do that with this little adapter gizmo that I got off eBay. I got this quite a while ago, but it lets you adapt from, you know, they have a whole bunch of these that let you go from various kinds of batteries to Ryobi. So the Ryobi battery, or the Black & Decker battery, just comes off like that. I still charge the Black & Decker battery on the Black & Decker charger. I can't charge this on the Ryobi charger. But it just simply plugs into this little adapter, like that, and then this slips into the drill, into any Ryobi tool as needed. So I was able to get another 2 batteries for my Ryobi 18 volt, 1+ system, just by getting this little converter. I had a little old Black & Decker drill a number of years ago that stopped working, but the batteries were good, so hey, little adapter and away it goes. Just thought I'd point that one out. Alrighty, I put the hinges on off camera, but this is how we're opening up, closing up. Next I'll be putting in the foam on the inside of this kiln. And I brought out the little dehumidifier that I picked up. So this is just a little 12-volt dehumidifier. You can see it's very tiny. And the intention is to put that inside the kiln, just to draw out some moisture that may come out of the wood. So we'll see how this works. This is a 12-volt dehumidifier. Right now it's running off a power adapter. But as I mentioned, I have some batteries and a solar array that will be more than enough to power that. Also want to put a couple fans in here, but we'll get to that, the electronics, after we have everything put together. So, against the far wall, I've got a couple large pieces of foam. That's the green Durospan. It's silver on the other side. So I'm intending to put the silver on the inside, so it kind of reflect the heat around the wood wherever it goes. There'll be a dark blanket on the top of this. We'll get to that in a while. But I'm going to start just by putting in the strips of foam on the bottom and front and back walls. And we'll do the ends, and then we can put on the plastic over the top of the lid. So I'm going to bring out that foam. I'm going to work with it on the top of my table saw, just because the work table is full of wood that needs to be dried. I need a bigger shop. So let me get that set up and we'll start cutting. So this piece is a little too big to fit on the tabletop, top of the table saw rather, so it has gone to the floor. I'm just going to try cutting it with a little X-Acto knife. This worked reasonably well. Finish the cut with okay. There is the floor of our cabinet. Put that in and see how it looks. So that's the floor sitting in place. So 16 by 87 and a half, or 86 actually, because I'm allowing 3/4 of an inch for a piece that'll go down on that end, and 3/4 of an inch that is down on that end. So what I'm going to do now is cut the front pieces. They're 16 inches high, and they'll sit 2 pieces to sit in that frame, and another piece to sit in this frame. So I'll get those cut. Having a sharp blade really helps with this. So I'm just going to measure the length of the 2 panels. Alright, go slip these in the front. So this is a press fit to get the this styrofoam in. You can see we're really close here, and I'm just a tad long, actually, by the angle of the blade here. Not sure. There we are. We can see that. So just a tad long by the angle of the blade. So I'm just going to run my blade through from this far side over here. Just going to run the blade through. Just trim that off, and that can slip in. Just trim that little bit off, and that's fit in really nice and snug all up and down that edge. So I'm happy with that. Now put this panel in. It's the right length, so I'm good with that. Okay. That is 2 sides of our box in place. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. So I'll work now on the back panels. There are 3 of them, and we'll just get a nice snug fit for those. Okay, have this piece marked. By the way, I'm using this little piece of 1/4 inch plywood just to kneel on so I don't dent the styrofoam. Okay, just going to check the dimensions of that. The 3 panels, they are 2 outside ones are the same. The center one is a little bit wider. So And double check, you know, measure twice, cut once. That's the theory. So the first one we'll cut is 27 5/8. Of course, you can tell because I'm using a Sharpie, it's 27 5/8-ish. Okay, we'll give that a try. This top edge is a little snug, so I'm just going to use this little knife here, putty knife, just to kind of help coerce this top into the shelf, or into the cabinet rather. That will work. Right, onto the middle section. Okay, with our insulation now in place, I'm ready to put on the clear panel on the roof, or the lid rather. And to do that, we're using these little, what do you want to call them, brackets. It'll sit on the edge like this. These are exactly the right length. And they fit perfectly into this corrugated plastic panel. So I've marked where I'm going to cut it, so I have an inch overhang on either end. And I just put some tape across here where I want to cut it. And I'm just using scissors to make the cut. This stuff cuts pretty easily. So I'll just cut this off and then we can get it in place. There we are. Scissors might not be the perfect tool for that, but it works. And I'll probably just take some sandpaper and just kind of go over that edge to get rid of anything sharp. But we're now in a position to put this in place and screw it down. There are some special screws for this. So they have a little rubber washer on the top of them. They're self-tapping, and they can be driven simply with the head of a driver bit. So I'm just going to put that driver bit into my drill so I can just go slowly and push these guys through. Like I said, they're self-tapping, so they're going to make their own hole. So let me get the camera set up and I can show you how we're going about this. Okay, so I got the panel clamped on at both ends, just so it's not going to move around. I have our brackets inserted loosely where I want them. And I know I said these are self-tapping screws, but I've drilled a hole through the plastic here. I don't want to crack this. I shouldn't with this, but I thought I'm going to drill a hole through here, through this plastic piece, and just to avoid any cracking, and then these will self-tap into the wood itself. And as you can see, I've got just kind of a little screwdriver bit, and these just fit in there perfectly, and away we go. And you just want it snug, not really tight. All right, that's one. Now I'm going to put one in the middle, and then I'm going to put one at the end. So just kind of get the whole piece lined up. This one is a little tricky because I need to get this piece lined up. And that'll do. And I will pre-drill that hole too. what I want to do with this panel is work from the middle out. Okay. We are ready to put this on. So I'm going to start here in the middle section. Just off camera there, aren't I? So I'm going to start here in the middle, and I'm going to work my way out. And then I'm going to go to the ends and work my way out. And I am going to continue with the pre-drilling of these holes through the plastic. Okay, there we are. That's the center part done. Now you may have noticed too that the corrugations are running lengthwise and not vertically. Yeah, that's a sacrifice I was willing to make. It meant I could get this done in one single piece across the top without having to make joins by running them vertically. And there is enough of a slope on this that any water that comes on here is just going to continue to run right off. So I'm not going to get any water troughing in these grooves. So just in case you were wondering. Okay, there is our box and lid. Now, a couple things to consider here. One is I'd like to put a handle on the front and a prop to keep it open. There is a gap up here at the top that I'm going to need to fill. And I could choose to do that with styrofoam, or I might just get some of that spray foam and fill that in there. Not sure. And of course, the exterior of the box needs to be covered. So I'm going to be covering the exterior of the box with some cedar. So we'll mill the next log, get some 5/8 inch, or probably 1/2 inch cedar. I'll make some shiplap out of it, and we'll just cover the entire outside of the box with some cedar. It's material on hand, why not use it? So I'm going to put a handle on the front here to kind of let me prop it open. Seal up the gap here on the top. I don't want that because I want to keep the heat inside. Although maybe the venting is good, I'm not sure. I don't think I want the vent there though. I want the vent a little lower down. So we'll, yeah, a little bit more to do, but that's the basic box. Now covered in and insulated. I like it. I like it a lot. So I'm going to call that a video for today. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.